Hello everyone. In this video, I will give a demonstration of building digit classifier using tf.keras API. And as you can see here, this is my deep learning model, and which has got three convolutional stages, and each stage has a convolutional layers with specific number of filters, followed by a batch normalization and an activation function called as ReLU. I also have a max pooling layer to reduce the dimension. And then at the classification part, I have fully connected layers or dense layer with an activation function called as softmax. Now, when you look at the data set, I'm using synthetic digit data set with 10,000 images, and I have split it into two different data sets. One for training, this is used for training, and I have 80% images. And similarly for validation, it has 20% images. I also have an independent data set called as a test set, and the images in this set are created using Paint app. So we have to make sure that the model performs well during all the on the three data sets. Now, when you look at the Python environment which I'm using, it's a web-based Python environment called as Jupyter Lab. Then I use a framework called as tf.keras. After the introduction of TF 2.0, Keras now can be used along with TensorFlow. That means Keras need not be just a high-level API. It can be used along with the TensorFlow, and it's a part of TensorFlow, or it's a Keras is a part of Google. So tf.keras framework is recommended by TensorFlow developers after the introduction of TF 2.0. And since the number of parameters are less, the CNN model what I have is very simple model, so it can be easily trained using any CPU based system. And when you look at the hyperparameters, okay, so the sum of the hyperparameters that I have listed here, and I'm using tf.keras here, and the optimizer, when you look at the optimizer adaptive momentum, you can also use other optimizers like gradient descent or RMS prop, etc. Now, I have used the default learning rate that comes with Adam, and even other parameters like beta and epsilon. So they are all the default values. So I have not changed anything. And when it comes to number of epochs, so I have chosen random epochs here, and the mini batch size around 25. Okay, so that's also random. Of course, we can fine tune these hyperparameters to get a higher accuracy. So when it comes to loss matrix, since it is a classification task, so we go for cross entropy. If the task would have been a regression, then we could have chosen RMSE as the loss matrix. So next, let us see, how we can build using Jupyter Lab. So let me take you through the code. So this is the Jupyter Lab, and I have the Python code written here. And advantage of Jupyter Lab is you have the notebook here, as well as you can navigate through various folders. You can also install any package if you require using terminal. Using pip command, you'll be able to install any packages. So let us go through this code. The first part is importing the necessary modules. Now for this experiment, I'm using tf.keras to construct my CNN model, and tf.keras is latest API wherein Keras and TensorFlow are combined, used as an API rather than using Keras as a high-level API. So this requires TensorFlow and Keras. TensorFlow 2.0.0 is required, and similarly, if you look at the version of Keras here, that is 2.3.1, which is synchronized with TensorFlow. Then apart from that, we also need other libraries like numeric Python library, matplot library. So that's also required for displaying the images. Image data generator class is required. for creating the training and validation generators to feed the images from training and validation data set. And similarly, the second stage over here is constructing the CNN model. As you can see, the tf.keras has been used here. There are 3 stages of convolutional layers. The first, this is the first stage where you mention the input shape of the image, that is 28 by 28. Then each stage of convolution layer has a batch normalization layer to make sure that each batch of images are standardized. Okay, so each of the image will be subtracted by the mean of that particular batch and divided by the variance. So the covariance shift will be reduced by using batch normalization. Then you can see that each stage has an activation function called as rectified linear unit. So then you have a max pooling layer to reduce the time machine. So this is the second stage of convolutional layers. Then similarly, third stage. As you can see here, the height and the width of this particular each layer keeps reducing and number of channels are increasing. The first stage has only 8 channels, then you can see the 16, 8 filters, then 16 and 32 filters. Whereas the height and the width will be reduced. So in order to convert multi-dimensional array into one-dimensional array, there's a flattened layer is used. So then we have a fully connected layer with 10 outputs corresponding to 10 image classes. The activation function here is a softmax activation to classify the labels. Then we also have, this is the summary of the CNN model. And you can see that the number of parameters are very less here because we have only a few parameters. So this is the train and validation generator. They are normalized. That means the pixel values are translated from 0 to 55 to 0 to 1. So that will increase the convergence rate. So similarly, that will speed up the convergence rate. So similarly, these are the path of training directory and validation directory. So then you have train and validation generators which are created here with the given target size and the batch size. So training and validation both will be done in batches, and this is also called as a mini batch here. So now the next thing is the compiling the model. Model is the name of the CNN model that we constructed, and for compiling we need a loss matrix which is cross entropy because the task is a classification task over here, and to optimize the parameters like weights and biases, we need an optimizer. So that's nothing but ADAM, adaptive momentum. There are other optimizers also there, like gradient descent or RMS prop, etc. And then we have a matrix that is used to measure the performance of the model. So we use accuracy for that. So we get the training accuracy and the validation accuracy. Now in this case, the default values of learning rate, beta and epsilon for this particular optimizer is used. So default learning rate is 0.001. So this is the next step is training the model. Once the model is compiled, the hyperparameters are already set, optimizer is decided, batch size is already decided, so we can start training the model, and this is the function that we can use to train. And as you can see here, these are the input arguments. So training and then a validation. You can also mention the number of epochs here. All these values are randomly chosen, and number of epochs are 50. During each epoch, entire data set will be used for training in batches, and the batch size is 25. So this is the training process is explained here, and in this case, the number of epochs are chosen as 50, and in each epoch there are 316 iterations. During each iteration, each mini batch will be used for training and validation. And what you can see here is the training loss initially that is little higher, and this is the training accuracy. The accuracy will be low in the beginning, but later on you can see that the accuracy improves. So this is about the validation or evaluation, and this is the validation loss and validation accuracy. And you can see that after 50 epochs, so this is the final training accuracy, and the loss is very low, the training loss, and the accuracy is 100%. And then this is the validation loss and the validation accuracy. So it shows that the validation accuracy is 92%, which is very good. So we have to make sure that the validation accuracy is also good, along with the training accuracy. If a model sometimes may overfit, in that case, the validation accuracy will be poor. So this is about training and evaluation. We have already evaluated the model on an unseen data, the data that is not part of the training set. Okay. So then now we also have a test set. Okay, so images are created using Paint app. So let us test the image using test images. So these images are in the same path. So you can read the image, then you can convert into an array, and you can normalize it to between 0 and 1. So after that, using model.predict, you can predict the score. So this is the prediction score of it. And you can see that now the digit is 8. So you can see this is the 8th, the score for the 8th label. Okay, so it's around 99.9%. That means the model is predicting properly. The test accuracy is also very good.